All right, so throughout the many years that I've spent looking into, researching, implementing my own journey of rewiring my brain, reprogramming myself, getting out of my own way, healing myself, and really letting go and releasing all of these mental blockages that are holding me back from becoming the highest version of myself, I've learned that while memory is a necessary part of our human experience, I think that we have to really wipe a lot of that clean. We have to wipe the slate clean to really let go of the past, to let go of who we were to become who we desire to be. But at a subconscious level, we are clinging to the past. And our memory is not just stored deep within our brain at a subconscious level, it is also stored in every single cell in our body and even in our DNA. It's even stored over multiple generations. And so our memory is really like bogged down and it's distorted. And so I'm going to read the definition of memory here. It says, memory is the faculty of the mind by which data or information is encoded, stored, and retrieved when needed. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future action. That's important. If past experiences cannot be remembered, it would be impossible for language, relationships, or personal identity to develop. And yeah, I think that is important. It's the part of the brain where information and past experiences are stored. The hippocampus is the center of memory, but it is spread across other parts of the brain too. Even our cells have memory and our DNA has memory. And so we have all these layers built up from the past. We're essentially stuck in the past. And we're constantly bringing the old with us, bringing this baggage of memory, this cellular baggage, into the present. And so we go into every present circumstance with a memory that is built up of outdated shit. And essentially our perception, when we look at something, when we see something new, we're trying to make sense of it. Our brain is instantly cross-referencing tons of information from the past to make sense of what we see. And so no two people are going to look at the same thing in the same way. So if I'm looking at a tree, I see the tree, but I don't actually see the tree for what it is. I see the tree based on my built up layers of memory and perceptions and experiences that I've had in the past related to the tree. And so some people might look at tree as firewood. Some people might look at tree as shade. You might look at tree as a friend. But the tree is only going to be the meaning that we give it. And so we're constantly associating what we've seen in the past to make sense of what we see in the present. And we're drawing from our memory. And so our perception is distorted. We're not really living in the present. We're just recreating the past over and over again. So really, we could think that we're making progress. We could think that we're evolving, but it might be the illusion of evolution. We could just be constantly living different iterations of the past. We're not actually moving forward and expanding and evolving, but we're just stuck in the past and we're just experiencing different circumstances of the same thing, of the same situations. And so yes, memory can be useful, to live in a society. It is useful. And it's also useful to draw on your memory, to look back on specifically your childhood, and maybe you can go back to the past, time travel back to the past, and process a lot of the things that you haven't processed that you pushed down, and revisit those things again, let them resurface, and so that you can heal them and you can let them go, and you can stop being a victim of the past. There was a period of time when I was really working on healing myself that I was just constantly going back to the past, pinpointing an exact circumstance that really molded and shaped me into who I am today. I think it's also beneficial to go back to your childhood and maybe get clues on what your purpose could be, your natural talents, any big dreams that you had, to get some clues into what your purpose could be here in life. But when we're talking about rewiring the brain, breaking through these outdated mental programs, we really got to wipe a lot of our memory. We got to wipe a lot of our shit. And so meditation for me has been huge. Just focusing on staying in the present moment, remembering that the present moment is the only thing that exists. In the present moment, I am free. My mind is free. It is not restricted by the chains of the past. And I can work on observing how the past has influenced me today. And once I am aware of it, it becomes much easier to just let that go. Because I realize I don't have to run on that programming anymore. Really take a look at yourself and recognize the outdated patterns that you're running on that don't serve you anymore. And then once you become aware of it, you can work on just releasing it and letting everything go and clearing yourself. Clearing all those things that are weighing us down, making us feel super heavy. When we stop living in the past and we stop carrying all this heavy ass baggage from the past, we become so much lighter, we literally free ourselves. And then when you have wiped the slate clean, when you have cleared your hard drive of all these little bugs that you're running on, that you didn't want to pick up, but maybe you picked it up during childhood, then you can start to really install new patterns and new programming and form new habits towards what you desire. But when we try to install new programs without releasing and clearing and wiping the slate clean of the old patterns, you're just going to start this war within yourself. And you're going to just be fighting and fighting and fighting until you release the past. Until you let go, let that memory resurface. You have to let it resurface. Process it, take what you can learn from it, and then just release it. Let it go. It doesn't have to dictate who you are anymore. And so realizing that your perception, I feel like I say in every video, but your perception is creating reality. You don't see a reality really for what it truly is. You see it based on your conditioning. And once I realized that, I was like, damn, that just like opened up my mind. I am a victim of my memory. I'm a victim of my programming. And once I realize that, I can let all that go and become limitless. Sometimes I'm scrolling through my phone and I see old pictures or whatever from the past. And you know, if you have Snapchat, go back on your Snapchat memories and you look at yourself and you're like, damn, I was really that person. We're still holding on to that person, that underdeveloped person, that unhealthy person. We're still kind of holding on to that person. Even though we might have transformed, that person is still kind of there under the hood, kind of dictating our decisions. And we gotta forget that old person. We gotta leave that old person in the dust. We have to do a hard reboot on our system, wipe it all clean. And it's tough to do that when we're constantly being conditioned in ways such as the media, music, subliminal programming. You know what happens. I know what happens. It's tough to do that when the odds are against us. But once we really fathom how our reality is so distorted because we're only seeing things based off of our conditioning, it becomes so much easier to think, oh, that's silly. That doesn't have to happen. I can just let everything go. I can let go of the beliefs that I think I have. I can let go of knowing. Like we don't even know what this reality, what this life is. I can just let go of all that and become a blank slate. So I love talking about rewiring the brain because I think we all need to do it at some point in life. I think we are all bogged down with tons of shit, tons of trauma, and we have to take control of that ourselves and be responsible ourselves for freeing ourselves from the baggage and becoming who we desire to be. So hopefully that helped. Peace.